Hey guys, welcome back to Remove Before Race, and today we're looking at one of the most popular cars that we've ever reviewed on the channel, the facelift version of that car, and it is this beastly new E53 Coupe. Take it in guys, doesn't it look absolutely glorious? So I can't wait to show it to you. Let's begin. So guys, when we reviewed the previous E53 Coupe, we found it to be one of the sexiest looking coupes that Mercedes have ever made in recent history. I think even better looking than the CLS, particularly on the rear, thanks to those wonderful lights. And just generally, it was a great grand tourer, but probably a lot more in terms of being a Mercedes-Benz than an AMG. And a lot of that came down to the sound. The design I still thought was a lot better than the sedan version of the E53 because it still had the twin bar grille, just like in all the other entry-level AMGs. So it did have a nice presence on the road. And then you had the quad round pipes on the back, again, looking really good, and some really nice alloy choices, particularly in the car that we reviewed. But today's car, in terms of AMG DNA, is on another level altogether. And you can just see that just by comparing the two, just on face value. Even a layman can appreciate just how much more aggressive this new E53 Coupe facelift is. And that's why I wanted to give it its own video, so we can essentially just drool together over this wonderful car. I think this is the point, and the point was going to come eventually, where AMG CEO Tobias Moers was going to feel vindicated for deciding to put the AMG specific grille on every single AMG. Because I think if this car had just the twin blade grille, it wouldn't have had the impact that this beast does at the moment. It just looks absolutely brilliant with this grille. Now, this is not the same grille that you get in the 63 cars, at least not that we've seen so far. This grille has got a very thick black border that goes all around it, just like we saw in the standard E-Class facelift grille, and we saw in the E53 sedan. So it's a smaller, more compact Panamericana grille, not so much in your face like the 63 versions that we've had thus far. It also slants forward quite a bit, and the whole front of the car is very flat. So this is a bit more of a unique entry-level version of that grille. And I think if you put the twin bar on it, it just looks boring. So sorry, Mr. Moers, you were right. The cars do look better with this, but then you need AMG flavor in terms of the actual technicals of the car, but we'll get onto that later. Now, in terms of the facelift, yes, a lot of changes apart from the grille. We haven't got a smiley face grille anymore. It is more angry looking in its shape. It's an A-shaped grille, I guess you would call it. We've got a double A-wing at the bottom like we saw in the sedan version with very aggressive vertical slats. We've got the aero feature on the front, which is curtains in the air intakes that go through into the wheel arch. And then you've got the bonnet, which finally have power domes. These look really, really good. Really aggressive, not quite as aggressive as E63, but give this car quite an interesting stance. And we can't forget the front light blocks, which have completely changed. Gone are the distinctive double eyebrows of the E-Class family, replaced with a light block that looks a lot more like the new S-Class as teased in a recent image. Instead, this has got an AMG GT-like eyebrow with 2 light dots in it, 2 meaning E-Class, 3 dots meaning S-Class, and probably 1 dot will mean C-Class. I'm just fearful that all these cars are going to look very similar to each other in the future. Sadly, you haven't got side sills like the E53 sedan has on this coupe version, but if we look at the rear, it still looks pretty good. But I think the big impact is on the front. The rear just gets a few touches to it. First of all, you can see that the lights no longer have the starry sparkle of the previous E-Class coupe. This has been now replaced with the light blocks, which follows the trend of what we saw in the E53 sedan, which also had light blocks, but the sedan had a completely different rear end compared to its pre-facelift. Lights which were much larger, linking to the new S-Class that's coming up, and to older E-Classes in their kind of bulk. These light block lights look nice as well, but I really do miss the starry sparkle of the old ones. You still maintain the signature round pipes of the entry-level AMGs, and you get a slightly more aggressive lower diffuser than we had before, and you even get the option of carbon on the rear spoiler as you do on the mirrors. Overall, one of the best looking Mercedes coupes from the rear, still looks bloody good in its facelift. But it's really that front that gives the impact, particularly with the new slim light which it's going to take a little bit of getting used to for me because it looks very, very similar to GT63S. There's some angles of this car where it just reminds me of AMG GT family, which is dangerous territory that AMG are treading on their design here. In terms of the size, the overall look of it really looks more C63 in its size and shape to me, which isn't a bad thing, to be honest, because it just gives you the impression of a shorter, stubbier, more aggressive looking car, which is exactly what you want out of a performance coupe. But as I said, you need to add some technical flavor in terms of AMG if you're going to make the front look that much more aggressive. And that's exactly what's gone on if you get the AMG Dynamics package. We mentioned this in the sedan as well. Every single one of you buying this car needs to get that package because you get red calipers, you get the fully dynamic steering wheel, the AMG control buttons, but more importantly, you get race mode and you get switchable 4MATIC Plus drift mode in this car as well. How can you not tick that option box? It's not possible. Don't let me see any E53 on the road without that package. And I will know because it'll have red calipers like you see there. This is that option that's going to separate this car technically from the pre-facelift, even if the car just looks prettier generally. Now, there is one other aspect of this, and that is the power. The power is unchanged. It's exactly the same power as the pre-facelift with the EQ boost. So essentially, we have to see what it drives like and whether that extra package has made a difference. One thing that will definitely make a difference is the AMG Performance exhaust. I've shown you the interior of the E53 already. Now, I just wanted to show you what this car sounds like. Now, I mentioned how many times I'm loving the design of this. I think part of that is because we all wanted an E63 coupe. We're not going to get it, certainly not in this generation. This is the closest thing that we will get to see what that car looks like in terms of design. I mean, it could have looked pretty awesome, but really a redundant car when the GT63S exists. I still feel that. But who knows? I mean, things are changing at Mercedes and at Mercedes-AMG in terms of future model lineup. Maybe we will get an E63. Maybe the GT and the CLS will disappear. Who knows what happens? All I know is it's nice to have a really aggressive looking E-Class coupe in AMG form for once. As you can see inside, you do get that brand new Super Sport steering wheel with the new AMG control buttons with the brand new graphics inside. They look really good. They're very easy to use. You're going to miss them in any car that doesn't have them. I'm not completely sold on this new Super Sport steering wheel. At the moment, it looks very messy with loads of buttons on there. My favorite is the previous version, but these new AMG drive control buttons kind of make up for it because they're done really well. Of course, you've got MBUX now in the E-Coupe, just like in all the other E-facelifts. It's the best Mercedes operating system that they have ever made. It's really easy to use, really easy to talk to the vocal assistant as well. And for the AMG customer, you get AMG track pace and AMG dials inside that you can customize to your own liking and get the exact information that you want on the screen. Of course, you also get a whole host of customization options within the driver zone, including designs and any type of information that you would want in there. Again, for AMG customers, you get unique interiors like the one we have here with the red stitching, the black and the magma grey nappa. And again, that is specific to the E53 and to E53 customers, which is a really nice touch. And the interior build quality just generally is fantastic. There'll also be a cabriolet version of this car, if we can just compare it for a second. Again, look how much more aggressive it looks compared to the pre-facelift. Just on a design point, it looks really, really fantastic. If we compare it for a minute to the sedan, just for your benefit, you can see they both look great. And I'm not sure which one I prefer. Even the wagon version looks really good. I'd love to know what you guys think. Which version of the new E53 do you prefer? And do you think it really looks like a proper AMG now? Because I do. I think it looks great. I think it's going to sound and drive great, hopefully, as well. Let's see, maybe I'm jumping the gun there. Maybe I am. We need to see, has AMG infused enough AMG DNA into this car? So guys, very excited to drive this in the future. Loads more AMG DNA, and it just looks great in every angle that I've tried to take a photo or video of this car. It looks fantastic. As soon as this comes into dealers, I really think that you guys should go and have a look at it. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Hopefully it's soon. So guys, until then, if you enjoyed this first look at the E53 Coupe, please do like, subscribe, and share this video. And I've got other places to be. See ya.